an increase of neutrons were measured in detectors all over the world. It's the sun having a different effect on the Earth than it has for a long time. This is one of the effects of the increase in frequency. And if you get the impression things are starting to move a lot faster, it's because things are moving a lot faster. The heartbeat of the Earth is increasing. Things are becoming faster. The Schumann resonance is just a function of the Earth in an electrical environment. That electrical environment is increasing. The frequency is increasing, so therefore the Schumann resonance is increasing. And what does it do? It has an effect on you. I mean, you're connected to the Earth, such that when it increases its heartbeat, wow, it has an effect on you. So you're gradually increasing in frequency. The effect is, it seems that things are moving a little bit faster, and it's because things are moving a little bit faster. It's not going to stop. It's going to get faster and faster and faster. And eventually we'll start hitting a threshold. Now, the effect is this. The sun will send out a new sound. Okay? A different sound. That sound will have an effect on all the planets in this solar system, but specifically the Earth. Now it's going to have an effect. Now, in order to move to carbon-7, it requires extra neutrons. Where are those things coming from? Well, we have a particular radioactive event. Now, we look at it as a disaster. However, that disaster is actually producing a surplus of neutrons on the Earth's surface. It's covering the Earth. It's going around covering the Earth. Now, I imagine that the Fukushima quote-unquote disaster is going to be expanded. That's going to provide a surplus of neutrons on the surface. So then what do we need? A new sound needs to be broadcast from the sun, and in all probability, it looked like to me the March 17th coronal mass ejection event was a test. People are spotting some pretty odd anomalies around the sun. These things are like big black spheres around the sun, and it seems like there's these channels connecting the Earth and the sun. I happen to think that they're related. Eyes are on the Earth right now. We're going through a transition state. Some interesting things are happening right now. So all of this stuff is working together. Now, when that sound is broadcast from the sun, from that 0 point in the sun, that point of creation, it's going to have an effect on the material. Our carbons will be taking up another neutron as it arrives into another level of stability. Your DNA will switch on, and then you will know what you are. You will return to your state, and at that point, everything will be okay. Now, I started thinking about chemtrails and what that actually does for the atmosphere. A lot of people say that a lot of the scalar interferometers out there, the HARP facilities in Tromsø, Norway, Puerto Rico, Russia, Japan, there's in South America, and they're stationed all over the world. They're aircraft that are putting specific elements into the air, heavy metals. From our perspective right now, are fairly poisonous. They don't work very well in the current biosphere. However, what it does is it allows these facilities to have a greater impact on the atmosphere. And how do they do that? Well, generally they look at light, and they look at electromagnetic radiation, and sound is different. However, it's primarily the same thing. So what they're doing is the atmosphere, oddly enough, is being conditioned in a certain way, such that it's my opinion that the sun will start sending out pulses, and all indications from science is that we're going to move into an interesting solar maximum, and these events are going to be fairly profound, and a lot of people are afraid that it'll actually put the grid down. which by itself may not be a bad thing, because right now the grid pulsates at like 60 hertz here in the United States, 50 hertz in other places, but it creates this sort of interference to certain natural processes. If the grid goes down, then it will no longer interfere. The CMEs and these certain events that are similar to what occurred on March 17th will actually cause neutron pulses on the Earth. That sound waveform, that new sound waveform that comes from the sun, will start bringing changes to our DNA, or specifically the carbon atoms that are in our DNA, moving us to carbon 7. And that pulse will, in my mind, no doubt, that some of the material that's being pumped into the atmosphere right now is going to condition the sound such that it'll have a maximum effect. Now, most people are looking at Fukushima as a disaster. They're looking at chemtrails as being some sort of violation against them. But they don't realize that the people that are doing this, although their intentions may very well be to poison the world with radiation and dump barium and aluminum onto everything and have an impact on the biosphere, and what they believe they're doing and for what reason, that's totally up to them. However, the effect actually may be completely different, and there may be a happy ending to the story. What it looks like right now, there's suffering. The radiation right now is causing suffering. People are being poisoned. Biospheres are dying off. There's been massive fish kills that, oddly enough, have been characterized as apocalyptic. There is large swaths of the Pacific Ocean being irradiated. This radiation is airborne. It's dropping over most of the northern hemisphere, and it is having right at this point a drastic negative effect. However, that may not last for very long.